welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing the BookTube backstage tag. So I was tagged for this video by Amrita from Amrita by the Book and Liz from For Booking Out Loud. I will of course link both their channels down below. You should all go check them out if you haven't already. So there are 8 questions I think to this tag, so let's just get started. Question number 1. What camera do you use for your videos? So I have a Canon EOS M50. I had to look that up because I couldn't remember what my camera is called. So I mean, I like it. It's the only camera I've ever owned, so I don't have anything to compare it with, but it's fairly easy to use. I'm not an advanced user at all, so, but you know, I'm able to use this camera and it works for me, so I'm pretty happy with it. Question number 2. Speaking about filming and being your own director, do you have a favorite film director? So I feel a little bad for saying this, but I don't really care about film directors, I guess. Which, I mean, I feel bad for saying that. I probably should care, but I just don't really pay attention to that stuff, and I watch very few movies. I thought about it, and I'm not sure I watched a single movie in 2020, and that is kind of rare. I do usually watch a few movies in a year, but yeah, I just don't watch a lot of movies. I'm not a movie person at all, and when I do watch a movie, I never really pay attention to who is directing it. And I obviously know about a few famous movie directors, but I have no idea which movies they have directed. So it's just not something that I ever think about or pay much attention to. So I mean, to answer the question, no, I don't have a favorite film director, mainly because I just don't know about that stuff at all. So question number 3. What microphone do you use and what program do you use to edit your videos? So I don't use a microphone, I just use my camera. I never really thought about needing a microphone, so I feel like this works well enough for me, so I'm probably just going to continue this way. I hope the video isn't too annoying or anything. I feel like it's okay. So for editing I use OpenShot. When I first started my BookTube channel, I just kind of googled and to see which free editing software was the best one to use, and a lot of people were recommending OpenShot, especially for beginners, just because it was easy to learn. So I decided to just try that one, and it is pretty good and it's pretty easy to use. It definitely has some limitations and it tends to freeze when I do certain operations, and that is very annoying. So it's not perfect, and I have thought about maybe checking out some other editing softwares as well, but I also feel like I've just gotten the hang of editing in OpenShot, and I just don't really feel like taking the time to learn different software. So I mean, for now I think I'm happy enough using OpenShot, but I might look into another software eventually. Question number 4. Do you remember the first record that you bought or received as a gift? So I'm going to assume we're talking about albums here. I mean, that's what I'm going to go with. And I know that I had a lot of like children's albums, CDs or whatever when I was a kid. I don't remember what those were. I'm not sure they were actually mine anyway. I'm pretty sure I'm probably like shared them with my siblings. But I do remember the first album, or the first like grown-up album that I received as a gift. I think I received it from an aunt and uncle, and that was the Norwegian band a-ha and their album East of the Sun, West of the Moon. I'm pretty sure I received this one when I was maybe 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. So this album was basically one of the albums that sort of transitioned me from listening to kids stuff and into more pop music. I remember that I started paying attention to like what was in the charts and listening to the radio and stuff when I was around 12, 13, I want to say. And I got this album before that because this was one of the first like pop albums that I ever listened to. And I had to look it up now because I couldn't remember the name of it, and I looked at the track list and I could remember a lot of the songs just by seeing the titles. I think I actually listened to this album quite a lot, and I remember liking it a lot as well. Even though I didn't really have a lot to compare it to at the time because it was pretty much the only pop album I'd ever heard. But yeah, I remember liking this one. It definitely was the first like grown-up album, I guess, that I listened to. Question number 5. How do you prepare your videos? Talking points, a detailed script, or just talking? So for me, I think this depends on the type of video that I'm making. For some videos, for instance wrap-ups, I make pretty detailed scripts. I just want to make sure that I remember everything that I want to say about the book. And I also tend to struggle to know what to say if I haven't written everything down. So for those types of videos, I do make pretty detailed script, which is also probably the reason why those videos takes me the longest to plan and to film and to edit. And it's also not my favorite video to make, but you know, that's just how it is. And then we have other types of videos, for instance TBRs, where I don't really write much down at all. Mainly because I don't really know that much about the books that I'm, you know, putting on my TBR anyway, so I don't really need to write too much down. And I also tend not to look into the books because I like going into books for the blind. And kind of the same with vlogs. I don't write anything down for vlogs. I usually will have a pretty good idea in my head about what I want to say in each clip, but I never write anything down. So for those videos, I don't really prepare much. And then we have some videos, for instance tag videos, where I do more talking points because I usually look at the questions beforehand and I write down some points, but I don't really feel like I need to make a detailed script for those videos. So I do a little bit of everything, but it's very rare, or I don't think it ever happens that I just sit down and talk. I usually have something written down, or at least a very good idea in my head of what I want to say. Question number 6. TV shows have become the thing of our time. Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Netflix, HBO and Amazon. What is/are your favorite TV shows ever? Name a maximum of 3. Okay, so I thought about this one, and I am actually just going to mention one. And that's just because, I mean, it's pretty much impossible for me to make a top 3 list without taking way too much time to think about it. Because I may not watch a lot of movies, but I watch a lot of TV shows in my life because I love TV shows. So the show that I'm going to mention is the only show that I'm pretty sure would be in my top 3 without like having to think too much about it. I'm not sure it's my favorite show, but it's definitely up there. And that show is Glee. I love Glee. I've loved it since it started out in, I want to say 2009 maybe. And I still love it, even though it's been years since it ended. I still think about it a lot. It's one of those shows that, you know, it's not perfect. It has a lot of flaws, but you know, I still just love it so much. And my love for this show was kind of rekindled, I want to say, because pretty recently, or not recently, but you know, because in the fall of 2019, my youngest sister, she moved to my city to start university, and she discovered Glee before the last season aired. But we never really got to watch the show together because, you know, we lived far apart. So we started doing a rewatch of the show when she moved here. And that was the first time we watched the show together. And as you both just really love this show, that was just so much fun. Unfortunately, the pandemic hit and our rewatch was kind of put to a stop because a lot of her classes was suddenly going to be online classes. And she just moved back to my parents, or our parents, and mostly just lived there since the pandemic hit. So she hasn't been here a lot, and we haven't been able to continue our rewatch. But we will get back to it at some point. We don't have that much left, actually. But yeah, that's just been so much fun. And it just sort of renewed my love for this show, even though it's always been there. So that's definitely one of my favorite shows. I'm not sure it's my absolute favorite, but it would definitely be in my top 3, I think. Question number 7. What kind of booktube videos do you prefer to watch and why? Reviews, wrap-ups, vlogs, book hauls, tag videos, or? So for me it depends more on the person rather than the type of videos they make. If I like a person or a channel, I will watch pretty much everything they create, regardless of what it is. But I want to say in general I prefer TBR videos probably. I'm a planner, so I just always love to watch other people's reading plans as well. And it doesn't even matter if they actually, go through with the plans that they have or read the books that I have on their TBR. A lot of the time I won't even watch their wrap-up at the end of the month and see if they actually watch it, because I just want to see what they've planned. Whether or not they go through with it, I don't care so much about. So TBRs are definitely a favorite, and also I really love vlogs. I usually only watch vlogs on channels that I really like. I think it just allows me to see a person in a different setting, and usually a more relaxed setting. And we usually maybe get to see everyday stuff as well. And I feel like I get to know the person a little bit better through watching vlogs, I guess. So I think that's the reason I really enjoy those. As for tag videos, before I started BookTube or started my BookTube channel, I never watched tag videos. I really just didn't care for those at all. But now I really enjoy them. I think probably because, I'm making them myself. So I like watch other people do it as well. But yeah, I want to say probably TBRs and vlogs are my favorite things to watch. But, like I said, if I like your channel, I'll watch pretty much everything that you make. So the last question number 8. Watching TV was probably a part of all of our childhoods. These days it has become less popular. What kind of media user are you? So this question is a little weird for me, because I am still watching TV pretty much the same way that I've always done. I thought about this question and I realized that I am watching TV pretty much the same way that I grew up doing. Because in my family we would usually always have the TV off during the day, and then in the evening the children's shows or programs would usually start at 6. So we turned the TV on then so that me and my siblings could watch that. And after that we usually just kept the TV on for the rest of the evening, even though we weren't necessarily watching what was on. And I realized that I'm kind of doing the same thing still, except that I'm turning it off at 7 to watch the news, because the news always comes on at 7. So I usually turn the TV off then, and then I just, it just stays on for the rest of the evening. I never have the TV off during the evening. It's always on, even if I'm not watching what's on. I will usually just mute it if I don't watch what's on, and it just stays on. So that's sort of just a habit, I think, that I have brought with me from my childhood, and that I've never really felt like doing anything differently or anything like that. So yeah, I pretty much just do the same thing still. I also use some streaming services. For most of the TV series I watch them on various streaming services. I don't watch a lot of TV series these days. It's definitely one thing that I've noticed after starting my BookTube channel, that I never feel like I have time to watch TV series. I usually just watch BookTube videos instead. So that's definitely something that I've noticed. But if I do watch a TV series, I will usually stream it. I listen to quite a bit of podcasts. I will usually split my time between listening to audiobooks and podcasts when I hike and travel and things like that. I obviously watch a lot of YouTube videos, mainly BookTube videos. I don't usually watch a lot of YouTube videos outside of BookTube. I've never been big on social media. I have Facebook, but I never use it. I've mentioned before that I have Twitter and Instagram. I use it, but I'm not super active. My family is actually kind of active on Snapchat, so I use that quite a bit. I'm not on TikTok, even though my youngest sister, she keeps showing me videos of cute animals, and you know, those are fun to watch, but I don't really feel the need to be on TikTok myself. I listen to the radio sometimes during my work day, and also I usually do that in the mornings. Outside of that, I mainly use Spotify when I'm listening to music. But I'm also the kind of person who will still buy like physical CDs of my favorite albums. I just like to own my favorite albums and like have them on my shelf. Kind of the same thing that I'm doing with books, I guess. So I want to say that overall I'm probably a pretty old school media user, you know. I still use TV the same way I did when I was a kid. I still buy CDs. So yeah, pretty old school, I want to say. So that was all the questions. Since this is a tag video, I know that I should tag some people, but like I feel like I'm so late to doing these videos, and I feel like this one especially has just made its round on BookTube lately, and I'm pretty sure I'm one of the last people to do this one. And pretty much everyone I know, I think, have either done it or I've seen them tagged in other people's videos. So I don't really have anyone to tag. But if you haven't been tagged for this one and you want to do it, then of course consider yourself tagged by me. I would love to see you do it. So that was the BookTube backstage tag. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye!